This is the Indonesia channel.
Hello and welcome to a TIC News Special Inauguration 2014 from Jakarta. I'm Dalton Tanonaka.
Selamat berjumpa lagi. I am Luisa Kusnandar. Thank you for joining us. It's official. Indonesia's 7th president took office in a Monday's morning ceremony full of symbolism and color.
Former furniture exporter Joko Widodo is now the leader of the world's 3rd biggest democracy and 16th biggest economy. The man popularly called Jokowi was sworn in along with Vice President Yusuf Kala in Parliament. The leaders then rode a horse-drawn carriage from the Hotel Indonesia Circle to the State Palace Istana down the road. President Widodo's first words to the nation were full of optimism.
Kini saatnya kita menyatukan hati dan tangan. Kini saatnya kita bersama-sama melanjutkan ujian sejarah berikutnya yang maha berat, yakni mencapai dan mewujudkan Indonesia yang berdaulat di bidang politik, berdikari di bidang ekonomi, dan berkepribadian dalam berkebudayaan. Saya yakin tugas sejarah yang maha berat ini akan bisa kita pikul bersama-sama dengan persatuan, dengan gotong royong dan dengan kerja keras.
A People's Party was then held in front of the National Monument where thousands and thousands of people joined to welcome the change in government. Now, a man who has been on the inside and outside of presidential politics joins us now.
Wimar Witular was a spokesman for Abdurrahman Wahid, now running his own communications company. Wimar, it's a day for new hope and new inspiration. How different is this day compared to what has happened in the past?
Well, it's different because of the nature of how the public elected Jokowi. It's not so much Jokowi the person, but how everybody was involved, everybody was engaged. It's a citizens' celebration. So that's why there should not be any ill will, because the thing is, it's the people who won, that they went out and voted, people who had previously not been that much interested. So it is a celebration for democracy.
But it's still only less than 50% or a little more than 50% who voted for him, so he has to win over the remainder of those people. Now, you can't really measure the goodwill a leader like this has going into his administration, similar to what Barack Obama did in the U.S., compared many times. How far do you think his popularity will carry him?
Well, it depends on whether he will live up to his expectations, first in the appointment of the new cabinet and what the new cabinet does in, say, the first few months. It's very important to get it right, because a false start would set us back a lot, not to mention there's also the looming threat of a possible action against him in the parliament, which we hope does not happen.
Now, Jokowi has to get down to business, and the first task is to announce his cabinet.
Yes.
How do you think this will go?
I have, up until this moment, supreme faith in his judgment, because every time we try to second guess him, he comes up with something totally unexpected. So I cannot profess to be any more astute or smarter than he is. He knows it all up to this point. We will see now when the cabinet is appointed. Will he have cronies? Will he have party hacks? Will he have people,
I don't think you'll expect that. I don't think you'll expect to see political appointees.
I think our expectations are quite high, but that's a double-edged sword, because the expectation is high. Any slip would be, seen under the spotlight.
Yeah, and he's expected to name the cabinet maybe this week. We'll see how soon he can do it. Also immediately, Wimar, there are global gatherings on the calendar. There is APEC in China, there's ASEAN in Myanmar, and G20 in Australia. Now, you couldn't ask for a better introduction to the world stage than the calendar provided him.
And all the crises globally, like the ISIS crisis and the Ebola crisis, a lot of crises that he has to meet. It's not a debate anymore, it's the real world.
But he should go to all of these, right?
Well, not necessarily go, but he should be involved. He should be engaged. He should have an active foreign policy.
But Yudhoyono has gone to all of these summits. When he's called to heads of state summits, he should be there.
Well, with all credit to Yudhoyono, not always has his presence yielded the results we expect.
I'm saying that as the new leader of a country, it would be nice to introduce him.
He should get introduced around, yes.
Okay, let's talk about other stuff here. We need to talk about other pressing issues such as ending fuel subsidies, managing natural resources, mass transit, and poverty. Which is highest on your list?
Well, there's the objective issues, there's the subjective issues. The fuel subsidy is an objective issue that has to be lifted or decreased, and as such, the people will suffer because of higher fuel prices. But any delay will just cause more grief.
So you're saying he should take action as soon as possible?
It's not when he should do it, but how he should portray it to the nation and how the public should respond to it.
Do you think the nation will understand, though?
Again, I hope that magic which carried him through the campaign will also tide him over.
Well, what would make it palatable, ending fuel subsidies? He has to say maybe, I take the money from here and I'm going to put it to programs for farmers, help the fishing industry, give you direct, whatever, right? He has to tell people where it's going to go. Maybe.
Yes, it has to be transparent. It's a tit for tat, exchange, yeah? Less subsidies, but more services.
Now, Wimar, what will the first year of Jokowi's success depends on?
On how soon the politicians in the parliament give up their posturing and follow the mood of the people. Because he has strong support in the public, but very weak support structurally in the parliament. But even now that is being eroded. So that's, be that as it may, he has to get support from the parliament.
And that could happen because parties are hedging their bets now. Some may switch sides. And
some have already switched or are in the process of switching sides. The PPP or maybe the Golkar and even in the...
Maybe the Democrats.
Maybe the Democrats, yeah.
So he could get a majority by the end of the year. You never know.
True, true. That's my private take on the situation.
Okay, last thing, Wimar, you've seen a lot from your days in Astana and since then. Emotionally and personally speaking, what is this day? What are you thinking? What's going on inside you?
It's just larger than life. It's awesome, very emotional, so emotional that I do not dare to appear physically in the celebrations.
Why?
It's just too emotional. I might get a heart attack just because.
In a good way, because
in a good way, because I'm just so
this.
happy. This is something I will not say I'm a democracy fighter, but this is something I had hoped for since I was a kid. That someday we will have a democracy. When Gus Dur came up, I said this is what I had hoped for. It someday Indonesia will be democratic and pluralistic. It came about. Now we're pushing the envelope even further, and this is. Well, I do not want to sound dramatic or invite fate, but I can die peacefully.
And hopefully that's a long time off. Wimar Wichala, former presidential spokesman, thanks very much.
Thank you, Dalton. Thank you,
right.
Louisa.
Thank you.
Let's take a first look now at our weather.
Standing by at the weather monitor is Ashifa Latif. What's the quick forecast for tomorrow?
Louisa and Dalton, here's how Tuesdays will look like in the capital, Jakarta. Expect a couple of morning thunderstorms with a daytime high of 34 degrees Celsius. Nighttime temperatures will cool down to 24. That's first weather. I'll be back with a complete forecast later in the program. Back to you, Dalton. Louisa?
Thank you, Ashifa. This TIC News Special will continue shortly.
Just who are the new leaders of the world's most populous Muslim country? We profile the journey to Astana of the men at the top.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Hahn, and this is Executive Golf. Good shot.
Executive Golf, only on the Indonesia Channel.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Turner, and welcome to Yoga Bliss. Hips forward and then start to fly. Slowly out and up to the sky, breathing here. Exhale takes you down into flying monkey. Arms wide, gazing out over your right fingertips. And inhale it all the way up and open. On your mat, bend your left knee and inhale your right arm up to the sky. Long spine here helps you to really twist open. Come join me on my journey every week on the Indonesia Channel.
Yoga Bliss, only on the Indonesia Channel.
You are watching a TIC News Special Inauguration 2015.
And we are coming to you from the Jakarta studio of the Indonesia Channel, the country's first with 24 hours in English. Indonesia's new president traveled a very short political road in winning the nation's top job. The Indonesia Channel's Prisma Kinanti profiles the former small-town mayor.
On July 22nd, Indonesia's Election Commission declared Joko Widodo and his running mate Yusuf Kala the official winners of the 2014 presidential elections. But this Jakarta-born man's journey to become president wasn't a smooth one. Jokowi embarked on his political career in 2005 when he was elected mayor of Surakarta City, also known as Solo, in central Java. He made changes during his leadership that previous leaders had failed to implement, including restoring city landmarks, relocating illegal street vendors, and creating green spaces. During his second term, he was named as one of the world's best mayors by the World Mayor Project. Based on his success in central Java, Jokowi was asked to run for Jakarta governor in 2012. He beat favorite incumbent Fauzi Bowo, fulfilling hopes for fresh leadership. Jokowi's leadership style was a breakthrough in Indonesian politics. His habit of making unannounced visits to the markets and offices delighted the public.
Kemarin mimpin DKI setahun aja udah kelihatan kok. Mudah-mudahan dengan tim menterinya bisa lebih bagus lagi gitu.
He made an immediate impact in his official duties, moving forward with plans for a much-needed mass transit system. He also introduced health and education assistance for the poor. Being a Jakarta mayor made Jokowi trusted by many people to not only lead the city, but also the country.
Hal yang paling urgent dari pemerintahan Jokowi, dia ingin membangun pemerintahan yang bersih satu. Kemudian yang kedua, dia ingin membangun misalnya penegakan hukum.
In April, he announced his presidential candidacy with political benefactor Megawati Soekarno-Putri of the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle looking on. Now that he's entering the state palace, Indonesians have high hopes that Jokowi will fulfill his promise to build a better Indonesia.
Karena beliau juga saya pilih ya, jadi untuk lebih better lah. Terutama kita yang kaum anak muda ini lebih lebih disorot lagi supaya kita tuh bisa berkreatif lagi ke depannya.
Pada akhirnya kita harus bicara soal sistem ya, perombakan sistem bukan sistemnya sih, tetapi mungkin mentalnya yang harus dirombak dulu gitu. Lalu juga ya mungkin perbaikan secara administratif, lalu sistem-sistemnya yang bawah-bawahannya gitu.
Corruption, education, and human rights issues are the main problems that Indonesians hope the new president will resolve soon. Prisma Kinanti, the Indonesia Channel, Jakarta.
The man in the number 2 seat is no stranger to the job, but Yusuf Kala is expected to provide the experience in government duties, as the Indonesia Channel's Janice Leo reports.
Vice President-elect Yusuf Kala was no stranger to high office even before becoming Joko Widodo's running mate This will be the second time that Kala, popularly known as JK, will occupy the State Palace after serving as Vice President during President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono's first term in office from 2004 to 2009. Born in 1942, Kala started his career as a businessman. Despite his success, his true passion was politics. He developed this passion after becoming active in the Indonesian Student Action Front in university and then became a member of the Regional People's Representative Council. Following this, Kala was appointed as a regional representative for South Sulawesi in the People's Consultative Assembly. Kala served in the cabinet under both President Abdurrahman Wahid and Megawati Soekarno Putri as Minister of Industry and Trade and then Minister of State-Owned Enterprises. In 2004, Kala's road to the vice presidency began when he joined the Golkar Party's convention for selecting a presidential candidate. But just days before the convention, he withdrew his candidacy and accepted an offer from the Democratic Party's Yudhoyono to become his running mate. Kala ran as Yudhoyono's vice presidential candidate and then won the vote for the 2004 to 2009 period. In 2005, Kala successfully presided over the Helsinki Peace Accords that led to a resolution of the Aceh conflict. Later in 2009, he ran for the presidency with former Armed Forces Chief of Staff Wiranto as his running mate but only won 12% of the vote. In mid-May of this year, PDIP presidential candidate Joko Widodo announced Kala as his running mate.
Semua pekerjaan ini harus bermakna, dan makna untuk apresiasi itu adalah pengabdian untuk kemajuan bersama. Bukan maknanya untuk dikawal, itu kan kesulitan justru. Bukan maknanya untuk mendapat kehormatan, bukan. Bagaimana kita memajukan bangsa ini.
Kala becomes the first Indonesian vice president who sits twice in the State Palace. Janice Liu, The Indonesia Channel, Jakarta.
After winning independence in 1945, Indonesia was led by 6 very different people through this week.
The Indonesia Channel's Nicole Lee looks back at the legacies of Jokowi's predecessors.
Indonesia was first led by President Sukarno after declaring independence from the Netherlands on August 17, 1945. Sukarno led the nation with Vice President Muhammad Hatta for 22 years. In 1967, Suharto became Indonesia's second president, declaring a new order and establishing a military dictatorship. Under Suharto, Indonesia made great strides in economic growth and infrastructural development, but government corruption was widespread. Suharto fell from power in May 1998 when he resigned, following the collapse of support for his 3-decade-long presidency. His resignation followed a severe economic and political crisis in the previous 6 to 12 months. The country's vice president at the time, B.J. Habibie, assumed the presidency, serving out the remainder of Suharto's term. Habibie was followed by Abdurrahman Wahid, popularly known as Gus Dur, who led the country for another 2 years. Wahid was impeached by Parliament in 2001. Wahid's vice president, Megawati Soekarno Putri, who is also Sukarno's daughter, then came to power as Indonesia's 5th president. Megawati ran for election in 2004, but lost to Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. Yudhoyono became Indonesia's 6th president, leading the country for a decade. Today, he officially left the State Palace and handed over leadership to Indonesia's new president, Joko Widodo. As the nation's 7th president, Widodo will determine Indonesia's future for the next 5 years. Nicole Lee, The Indonesia Channel, Jakarta.
There is still more to come in this TIC News Special.
How financial markets greeted Inauguration Day, and we'll hear economic predictions for early months of the Jokowi administration.
Indonesia's first 24-hour English TV channel is here, with an exciting mix of programming to inform and entertain viewers around the world. The Indonesia Channel offers something for everyone, from world-class lifestyle shows like Yoga Bliss to the hottest music hits and artists on iPop. News and information are an important part of the Indonesia Channel, with Today's Indonesia and ASEAN Today providing what you need to know. International hosts such as Lorraine Hahn, Jamie Aditya, Caitlin Turner, and Dalton Tanonaka are among the faces you'll see. Movies, dramas, travel, and more are all on the Indonesia Channel for the world to see.
Bali. It's the experience of a lifetime. The beaches, the mountains, a whole world of moments just waiting to happen. From its rich cultural history to its amazing culinary experiences, if you're gonna do Bali, you gotta do it right. Join me, Jamie Aditya, as we explore the best of Bali.
Saya harus bagaimana?
Dengan Tuhan.
Berarti sebelum anaknya Jimmy pulang, kita sudah harus secepatnya menculik dan membuang bayi itu ke comberan.
Hari berganti hari, seolah waktu akan berlari.
Passion for Fashion, only on the Indonesia Channel.
Hi, I'm Chunta Laura Keel, and you're watching the Indonesia Channel for the world to see.
This is a TIC news special.
And it is Inauguration Day for President Joko Widodo. Stocks have been trying to push back above the 5,000 level.
Here with that and more in our Business Watch is Deborah Priscilla. Deb, were investors pleased?
Dalton, Luisa, they had every reason to be optimistic with the smooth transition of government. And here's how market did in Jakarta and around the region. The World Bank says Indonesia is already a top 10 economy in the world, but where it heads now is in the hands of the new administration. The Indonesia Channel's Andita Winda talked with experts about the country's financial future.
Political instability in parliament earlier this month triggered a multiplier effect that produced negative sentiment toward Indonesia's economy. The negative market reaction was reflected in the rupiah's exchange rate, which fell to 12,141 to the US dollar, and also pressured the Jakarta Composite Index, which weakened 1.02% to 4.949. But with President Joko Widodo forming the cabinet, which is likely to include opposition red and white coalition politicians, investors will be eagerly awaiting new policies that will influence Indonesia's business climate. According to Telisa Velianti, an economist at the University of Indonesia, even if Jokowi decides to change some policies, Indonesia will remain a promising country for investment.
Our economy still can grow with our optimistic view because fundamentally we have several potential. For example, middle income people, and then demographic bonus, and also we are getting continuous improvement in our education.
Some businessmen say that even if the parliament's composition generates negative sentiment in the business sector, and especially in the stock markets, they remain confident that the new government will be a breath of fresh air for the economy.
The new government will give more, the conducive atmosphere for the players, of the business player. Not only the macro condition, but also issuing the regulation.
Tidak mudah apa yang dia programkan itu untuk bisa mulus, karena memang ada beberapa tahapan-tahapan yang harus disetujui oleh parlemen dan sebagainya. Namun secara keseluruhan saya yakin bahwa pemerintahan ini bisa melalui tahapan-tahapan itu dengan baik karena memang programnya cukup.
President Joko Widodo is targeting economic growth of 7% by 2018. In the second quarter of 2014, Indonesia's current account deficit widened to $9.1 billion or 4.27% of the country's gross domestic product. Andita Winda, The Indonesia Channel, Jakarta.
And that's Business Watch, Dalton and Luisa.
Thank you, Deborah. Let's get our complete weather picture now.
For the outlook across the archipelago, we go back to Ashifa at the weather monitor. Ashifa, what are you seeing?
Louisa and Dalton, here's what today's will look like. Let's start in Aceh, where there will be an afternoon thunderstorm or two. The high will be 30. Medan will also see an afternoon thunderstorm or two. Daytime high will hit 30, cooling down to 24 at night. From Sumatra, we head over to Java. Here in the capital Jakarta, expect a couple of morning thunderstorms. The high will be 34 degrees Celsius. Surabaya will be a sunny and pleasant day. Daytime high will hit 33 degrees and cooling down to 24 at night. In Bali's capital, Denpasar, the high projected to be 31. Expect a pleasant day with some sun. We're heading up to Makassar. Temperatures range from 35 to 21. Expect a very warm day with partial sunshine. And in Jayapura, the high projected to be 31. Expect a cloudy day with a thunderstorm or two. And that's the Tuesday forecast. Dalton, Louisa?
All right. Thank you very much, Ashifa. It is feedback time now, and Sinar posted this on our Facebook page. I think TIC should be free to air TV so all Indonesians can enjoy the best TV channel in Indonesia. Well, that is so cool to hear. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Please send in your comments or question to info@theindonesiachannel.com, and you can also reach us through our social media pages. Indonesia's new president is also a magazine cover boy.
Yeah, not as a fashion icon, but as what Time magazine calls a new hope. Now, staring straight ahead and serious, Joko Widodo is the subject of a major profile in the October 27th edition of the U.S. publication. The article points out his everyman roots, such as flying economy class. Its focus, though, are the major challenges ahead for the new leader and how global hopes are also riding on the man called Joko Widodo. You have been watching a TIC News special from Jakarta. Thank you for watching. I'm Dalton Tanonaka.
Terima kasih. With Deb and Ashifa, I am Louisa Kusnandar. Please watch us again tomorrow.